Hello, I'm now going to read a poem that I wrote, but actually I like, and I like to read it as well. It reminds me of some better times. It's dedicated to a guy that I met at HMP Highpoint South, and we used to walk around the yard of Unit 9, and it was after a conversation with him that I decided to write it and dedicate it to him. I won't mention his name for obvious reasons. There's nothing really to say. It is quite an in-depth sort of poem, philosophical, I guess, but contains some ideas which are not really new, but are quite interesting. Millions of men. These winter winds come from colder climes, blowing on faces, necks and ears. This air has lived through different times. How many millions of years? Whose brow was last touched by this unseen hand that forces the water upon the sand? And the sea that strikes that sandy shore will wash the weary feet again of those that have swum within, and more. How many millions of men? Whose bodies were pushed by this fearless force that defined the dirty driftwood's course? And the earth on which we timidly tread, where we tipped our waste and bones and ash, in which grain was grown for our daily bread, millions of tons of discarded trash, whose clothes were stained by this same soil on which green-fingered gardeners toil. When we brazenly breathe the wind-blown air that fills our lungs but is so much more than what seems bright blue, yet base and bare, how many have gulped this gas before? If this gasp I take was word expressed, would it change the ink on paper impressed? And food consumed, how did it start? From where have come these oats and wheat? Whose blood now pumps through which man's heart? How many atoms will these animals eat? As I write, I feed on another's dust, once buried beneath the old earth's crust. The cycle of which man rarely speaks, human excretion is never lost. It finally into the food chain leaks, with the millions of men whose bodies were tossed into gruesome graves or on fields of war. All that lives now has lived before. Thank you very much.